Yes. Holy cow. Lord
Woo.
Almighty. Hello, this is Litsa. Thanks for listening to the first Austin Cycling Bulletin. My partner Kat and I put this together because we thought it would be nice to give listeners a rundown of the various bike rides happening in Austin every week. Of course, there are so many, we cannot know them all, so we intend to invite friends to help us out every week. Please enjoy.
Okay. All right. So the things that I know about for Mondays is, and it's not tonight because a lot of folks are out of town for the event, but the Breakfast Club Babes group does a ride on Monday nights at 6 p.m. from the Meteor. And it's a road ride. They go from the Meteor across the lake or across over the lake to Mount Bunnell and ride up Mount Bunnell, which, so if you are from in town and you know what that means, it's a hard climb. But once you get to the top, we regroup, and then it's an easier ride back to Meteor where they have, wine and beer and tacos and all sorts of good stuff and pizza.
So Monday the 8th, our lag, Ride like a Girl, is meeting at 6 p.m. at North Brushy Creek. Brushy Creek is kind of a big park, but if you Google 2310 Brushy Creek Road, that is what they put on their meetup.com, I believe. But if you go to Ride Like a Girl, you can find information if you go to austinridgeriders.com, because Ride Like a Girl is a chapter of Austin Ridge Riders, and it's just a all levels women's ride. So that's tonight. Let's do Tuesday. Anyone got a Tuesday ride? The ride I'm aware of on Tuesday is the yoga ride, which meets at 6:30 at Doug Sam Hill. This is a social ride, so you can bring your commuter bike, your BMX bike, your clown dog bike, your whatever, and it's just an easy roll around town with yoga included. So that's 6:30 Tuesday night, Doug Sam Hill. And then the Tuesday teardown happens too, but I don't have info on that. Do either of y'all know where and when with that one?
The only thing I know is that it goes from Calais.
I'm not sure if the Tuesday teardown is going on this week. I know that Phenom's been considering the heat a lot.
Okay. I'm personally not aware of a Wednesday ride. Do y'all know of anything?
I know that Rafa does some rides, but I'm not sure. I've not done those. I think it's a hill ride on Wednesday.
Thursday?
I know that we have, Team Snacks and Kat leads the early bird special on Thursday, like every Thursday morning. So it's a nice regular ride that Kat leads out of Cycle East at 7:30 a.m. each Thursday.
Yes.
And Kat, who would enjoy that ride?
That ride is great for folks who aren't crazy about climbing. And because the ride is almost perfectly, not perfectly flat, but not Mount Bunnell either. We average about 13 miles an hour. So that includes going up the Walnut Creek Trail to the YMCA and coming across on 51st Street and coming down Cherrywood. So it has a really good mix of either off-road, no cars at all, or protected bike lanes for almost the whole ride. It's really fun. I know it's hard for some folks to get out at 7:30 in the morning. All I can tell you is if you can mark it in your calendar as a off-site meeting, we can promise to talk about work a little bit while you're riding. So
what time do y'all usually finish the ride and get back to Cycle East?
We generally are back to Cycle East around 9 o'clock to 9:15, depending. It's a no drop ride, so we never know who's going to show up, and if we have mechanicals or anything like that, we don't leave anyone. So we don't have a hard and fast stop time, but in general, we're usually done around a little after 9. And then we usually spend a little bit of time at Flat Track Coffee, having some coffee and breakfast tacos and getting ready for the day. So.
Well, tell us about the Thursday night social ride, Calais. Where do people go? What time?
Well, the Thursday night social ride is with Social Cycling Austin, and I know that often that they can sometimes change where that happens. I'm trying to see where they have this week's. I think it's usually starts at Thursday nights at 7:30.
Do you
But
want
I'm
to
not sure where exactly they're meeting this time.
look it up while I talk about the Friday rides?
Yeah, I'm trying to
circle
find
back?
it now, actually.
Okay, so while Calais does that, Friday there's a couple cool rides. One is there's a ride called the Coffee Ride. They haven't posted where they're meeting yet, but if you're if you're interested in doing another early morning ride before work, just kind of getting the juices flowing before your work day, the Coffee Ride can be found on Instagram. So if you just head on over to Instagram.com and you do a search for the Coffee Ride, which I'm doing right now, the handle is the.Austin Coffee Ride. And they post on a weekly basis where they're meeting. And it's just it's kind of like the Thursday ride, but the coffee ride is co-ed and they visit a different coffee shop every Friday morning. And then this Friday, August 12th, is the annual full moon cruise. And that one, I don't know about now that Austin has so many rides, but back in the day when there was just like critical mass and club rides, the full moon cruise was kind of like the cycling Christmas for commuters. That one meets at the Pfluger pedestrian bridge at 11 p.m. and just kind of rides all through the night. It's actually not a long ride. It's a commuter oriented ride. So again, bring your BMX, your clown dog, your steel bike, your whatever. But they traditionally had kind of a loop that just went north towards Shoal Creek, that area that I believe they go in Great Northern or always used to in the past. And that ride goes clear until like 4 a.m, but you can drop off anytime. And it's just honestly meandering around in the dark with hundreds of other people. Pretty fun. Okay, Saturday is the Phenom 50 that leaves from Cycle East at 7:30 in the morning. There are a lot of Saturday morning rides, especially when it comes to road riding. So if you want to get a longer, faster group ride in, Saturday's the morning to do it. Pretty much every bike shop has some road ride leaving out of their shop, but since Cycle East is kind of our favorite shop, I'm aware of the Phenom 50. 7:30 co-ed ride, but a pretty good mix of men and women and everyone in between. So then also Saturday, Kat, are you aware of the McDade night ride this Saturday?
Yes.
You want to talk about that one?
That's going to be a gravel ride. It's technically a race. It's 30 or 60 miles or 49 miles, sorry. But it's at night. So you'll have to have lights. You'll have to have gear that you can be seen in at night for the locals because they don't close any roads or anything like that. But I love riding gravel at night. It is so much fun, especially in the summer when it's so hot that it finally is a little bit cooler for these rides. And also you see things that you don't see during the day, you know, wildlife and the locals, you could say. But if you have never done a nighttime gravel ride, I definitely recommend it because it is so much fun. Just make sure you got a good light, make sure it's charged, make sure you have a backup, because if you're 20 miles from the car and your light goes out, it's going to be a long walk back home. So prepare to be a good kid and prepare well for that.
If you
And
want
lots of water.
If you want to do that gravel ride, that is at 6 p.m. in McDade, Texas. you'll go to 233 Edmondson Ranch Road. However, it is technically a race hosted by Capital City Racing. So you have to go to bikereg.com/McDade-night-ride, or just Google it, or go to capitalcityracing.com. Either way, get yourself on over to the registration and pay that fee to do it. But it is pretty darn fun.
It's worth it.
Sunday, how about, do y'all have anything lined up then?
Yes, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Team Snacks is leading the Rafa Women's Training Ride this coming Sunday on August 14th. It's wheels down at 7:30 a.m. We're going to be meeting at the Rafa Clubhouse on West 6th Street. And this is a women's ride. It's about 37 miles. We're going to be doing what's called the Manor Loop. So midway, we'll have a break stop at the Manor Grocery.
I'm going to be helping to lead that ride that Calais was talking about.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I'll be out there.
Okay, the one I'm aware of Sunday is every single Sunday at Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park at 10:30 a.m. The Austin Ridge Riders meet up. It's a co-ed ride. Usually around 50 mountain bikers meet up and split up into groups based on however you consider your skill level to be. Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park is really fun and really punchy, but also really confusing because most of the trailheads aren't marked. However, if you ride with the Ridge Riders, you'll be following someone that knows their way in and out of that park. Awesome. Well, I guess that's all the rides. Thanks, you guys.
I am Kat Steele. I am Litsa's partner, and been riding since the 90s, mountain biking and road biking, and lately gravel rides, and live here in Austin. And I love being on two wheels, no matter what I'm doing.
Calais, how about you?
I'm Calais. I am currently president of Team Snacks Cycling, which is a women trans femme and non-binary club in Austin, Texas. I've been riding my bike my whole life, using it for various reasons, recreation and commute and other purposes as well. I do ride some road and some gravel. I like touring and bike camping, but mountain biking is probably my favorite thing to do on bike. And it's just pure fun. So besides that, I like finding new places to ride bikes and finding new people to ride bikes with. So that's pretty much me.
Calais is also quite active in volunteerism and has orchestrated trail building and has helped coordinate volunteers for Hill Country Ride for AIDS and amongst other things. Also, you're super involved in Project Transitions. Will you remind us what that is?
Project Transitions is a nonprofit organization in Austin that helps with housing, medical care, social care, basically all your basic needs for folks living with HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
Kat, you didn't mention that you are a gravel collective leader and
Yes.
also a leader in Breakfast Club. You want to talk about that?
Sure. The Gravel Collective is an organization I found out about through their Houston chapter. They had a Houston and San Antonio, Texas chapter first. And I inquired with them about when I saw their rides that they were posting about having an Austin chapter, and they were all for it. So myself and Laura Thane are the Austin leaders for the Gravel Collective. And so far we've had 3 monthly rides, and they are a blast. They are, the idea with those rides is that you lead from the back. So if you have the route and you know what you're doing and you're fast, you can ride as fast as you want. And you can do the whole route in 10 minutes. But if you're with me, you're on a no drop ride. You are going to get, you know, if there's any mechanicals, if you have problems, if you have questions, I'll be right there. And that's just the way those rides work, is we want to make sure that everyone that comes out can enjoy themselves on the ride. And we usually try to do it in a way that puts something fun in it. The route that we're doing later this month ends at the San Marcos Rivers, and it's beautiful. You can just jump in your kit and get cooled off. So it's really fun. And the Gravel Collective is expanding. Right now it's Houston and San Antonio, Austin. There's a chapter in New York, in Rochester, and they're starting a chapter in Arizona and Phoenix.
All right, well, that was the rundown. I hope that was helpful to you. Now, we both know that that was not a comprehensive list. What about the bagel rides? What about Bike and Betty's? What about Thursday Throwdown? You're right. There are so many rides in Austin, and Kat and I can't think of it all on our own, so we definitely want help. We really appreciate Calais' help this time around, but if you want to get in on this, please, you're welcome to. Email Kat and I at Austin Cycling Bulletin at deardiary.coffee, or acb at deardiary.coffee works as well. So one thing that I want to add is this podcast is new. It's a new concept, and one thing Kat and I would like to do is to have diversity in our presenters, like the level of diversity that we would love to see in the cycling community at large. So I'm telling you that to help you know how we prioritize our guests. As now that I'm older, I don't experience this as much, and in Austin I don't experience this as much, but as a woman in my early 20s, I often felt singled out on rides. I got too much attention. I would end up with someone riding with me on like a super long endurance ride, and I couldn't not ride with them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want their company. I didn't get the right vibe off of it, but I'm in the middle of nowhere, and so that's not fun. But I know what it's like to feel like part of a minority in a group setting, or feel tokenized and like I'm getting too much attention. And that's my experience when I was a young woman. Now that I'm older and now that I'm in Austin, I don't really experience that so much, but I have observed that in Austin, we're not perfect. I feel like the women's cycling community is so big and so great, and I have the privilege of riding in truly mixed groups where I get to just be a rider. Like I get to just be there because I want to be there, and I'm a cyclist, and that's it. It's just as easy as that. And it's ridiculous that that can't be the experience of everyone, but it ought to be. And I feel like we're making strides here in Austin. Now, groups that I think are still just really small and not getting enough representation would be Black African American community. Like, there are Black riders in Austin, but not near enough. So, and of course, if there's only a handful of you and everybody knows your names, then you just get more attention than you want. You should be able to relax on rides and just be a rider. So, African American community, really young riders. We don't see a lot of teens on group rides, but I think most group rides would welcome them. But if you're a younger person interested in riding, I think just it's kind of intimidating being amongst all these adults and you don't know where you're welcome. And I think that's a shame because I see a lot of young riders on races, and they're really great. So why can't they be part of our social cycling community as well? There's a lot of retirees that ride here, so I don't think we have any lack of representation in the 65 plus group, but still maybe you are of an age where you feel like you're kind of a minority singled out. Like, for example, we don't see as many older women in our cycling community. So we have a ways to go when it comes to diversity, and I think a tiny little way that this podcast can help is by having guests come on that represent all those groups. So then as a listener, if you can relate to that person, you know you're not alone, and we are building those parts of the community as well. Or that's the hope anyway. So I hope you appreciate that sentiment. I hope you will email me if you're interested in helping us list all the rides of the week. If you're just a listener, if you're new to Austin, thank you so much for listening. I hope this just gets better and better and more helpful for you. All right, cheers.